Mr. Evaporation, you may know him as a fake Crash on Twitter. And he says, no one don't like Crash Bandicoot. Well, you know what, Mr. Fake Crash? What's up, Bandy Crew, and welcome back to another video about Crash Team Rumble, the upcoming 4v4 multiplayer game that I'm excited for. I'm pretty sure if you clicked on the video, you're probably excited for it, and if you're not, well, oh well. You know, whatever. We won't really be able to deep dive into the game until April 20th when the closed beta comes out, so if you want to get into the closed beta action, you're going to have to pre-order. I'll be leaving pre-order links in the description down below. So yeah. So I went to Twitter, and I polled a few people of, you know, who they'd like to see come to Crash Team Rumble. Crash Team Rumble only has a set few amount of characters. Obviously, there's a whole crew of Crash characters that aren't in the game yet, or we don't know if they'll ever return to this modern era of Crash. It's like a battle royale against all the Crash Bandicoot characters to figure out who's going to come out on top. Alright, so let me just go ahead and pull up Twitter on my phone. I have a list of all the characters here with all the tallies and whatnot, just because, you know. And we even got a comment from my good friend Sam saying that she wants Polar Purra and Nitro Squad, so we'll be putting those in very momentarily. Now, mind you, this wasn't really a big tweet or anything like that, but still very much thankful to everybody that shared it around and replied to it. So the first one we're gonna look at is my good buddy Mr. Evaporation. You may know him as a fake Crash on Twitter, and he says, no one don't like Crash Bandicoot. Well, you know what, Mr. Fake Crash? Nah, he's just kidding. He would like to see the Apocalypse mask, known as Oppo Oppo, which is a mix of the Titans and the Mutants Uka Uka and Aku Aku masks together. There will be a picture somewhere on the screen. And yeah, I agree. I think he would really be cool. I don't know what you could do with him specifically. You know, sort of similar to like Uka Uka or Oxide as we've seen so far. You could have him as like a stage hazard. I think it would be really cool. Maybe like since this is a brand new mask, we don't know what it's really capable of. Maybe there could be like another wasteland like kind of map, and in the center you have Apu Apu, and when they have all the relics together, like the team goes and activates it and whatnot, it creates like this giant twister or something like that. I think that'd be really cool, really chaotic. So yeah, thanks for the suggestion, Mr. Evaporation Fake Crash. I don't really know what to call you. I'm just gonna call you Fake Crash because that's what I identify you as. Polar and Purra would definitely be very interesting to see. I don't know how they would work unless you make them like how they were in the Crash Boom Bang DS game, where they're humanoids. And, like, they just grew up. They stopped walking on all fours. They evolved. They can now walk around on two legs. They, you know, just make them like that. That'd be pretty funny to see. I don't know how they would do that. And then obviously I feel like Nitro Squad is going to be like one of those things that pop up like very frequently. I think the Nitro Squad girls could potentially come back. We'll have to see. I don't know if they'll do like alternate versions of them like they did with Tana, but I do think if the Nitro Squad did come back, they would redesign them and make them their own like characters. I don't even know if they would actually keep them as a Nitro Squad. I think they'd just make them, or they might just separate Tana and Nitro Squad as a whole. We'll have to see. Cortex's Aussie pal. Hello, Mr. Cortex. How are you? Activision, hire me. I can do a backup for Lex Lang anytime you want me to. And he says Tiny Tiger and Nina Cortex. Yeah, I'd actually like to see Tiny Tiger come back. It's kind of weird that Tiny Tiger didn't appear in Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time, but I guess they were trying to utilize as many villains as they possibly could, but also didn't want to work with too many villains. But yeah, bring him in and have him like have his trident, like just poke around. And then Nina Cortex, obviously Cortex's niece would be interesting. Maybe you could make her play similar to how she did back in Twinsanity, sort of similar to how you evolved that like gameplay mechanic into Tana's hookshot. You know, she could just traverse around with her mechanical hands and whatnot. That would be really cool. All right. So thank you, Cortex's Aussie pal, for the suggestions. All right, up next is my good pal Fez Penguin, and he suggests Nina Cortex, Tiny Tiger, Fake Crash, and Penta Penguin. Oh, this is an interesting one. Penta Penguin. Penta Penguin would be very interesting. I like how they redesigned him in Crash Bandicoot 4. I like how they designed the penguins in general in Crash Bandicoot 4. I think Crash Bandicoot 4's design is just really overall like overwritten every past Crash Bandicoot design for me. Like I can't look at them the same anymore. They're not cartoony enough for me. You know, it's very interesting that you suggested Fake Crash and Fake Crash himself didn't suggest Fake Crash. I'm just gonna throw that one out there. That's very, very intriguing. Thinking like Data Mine, when it was also like in development as Wumpily, there was a bunch of like there were character movesets that were in, and I think Fake Crash had one. Fake Crash being his own character would be cool. But I also feel like they're just gonna make him a skin for Crash. We'll have to see, but I think he would very much work well as a separate character. Yeah. All right, moving on. We got Also, correct me if I'm wrong. They say, I really want to see Pinstripe, Komodo Joe, and Komodo Mo coming back, hopefully in a playable role, but I think you already know that. Yes, that's correct. I do know that because your name is literally Pinstripe and Komodo Joe for Crash Team Rumble. Pinstripe, definitely. Would love to see him come back. I know the reason they don't want to bring him back as of right now is probably because it's Tommy gun, but again, you could probably just change that out for something else. I think in Crash on the Run, he threw bombs at the character instead. I don't think he even had his Tommy gun present in Crash on the Run. But I definitely would like to see Pinstripe Potaroo come back. Definitely bring back Pinstripe in some shape or form. And then Komodo Joe, or the Komodo brothers in general, I think popped up a few times in these replies. I would like to see them get used more because it seems like even now in the modern era, they're not being used as much, which is kind of hilarious because in the classic era, they still weren't really used as much. I just don't think that they figured out really what else to do with them, or you know, how else to make them interesting. Not saying that they're not interesting characters at all. All right, moving on. We got Chomper. There's so many to pick from for me, but if I had to narrow it down to a top 3 excluding leaked characters, I choose Crunch, Nina, and Evil Crash. All right, so Evil Crash is actually something that I wasn't expecting to see here. I would love to see Evil Crash. Evil Crash coming from Crash Twinsanity, which is literally just a monstrous version of Crash. It's actually kind of hilarious. And here we go with Nina again. Nina being a very top character that I'm seeing here. And then Crunch. Crunch, I believe, might have a chance, but also at the same time, I think for if we're going story reasons or lore reasons in this new modern era, I feel like they're going to wait until the next mainline Crash Bandicoot game to introduce him, or maybe a future title to reintroduce him, just because I mean, you could reintroduce him in this one if we ever get like a single player or a story mode, which I personally don't think is necessary for a spin-off game like this. It worked with Crash Team Racing because they made a story for Crash Team Racing going into the development for Crash Team Racing, but for Crash Team Rumble, it didn't seem like they had a story in mind, and they just wanted to make something fun for people to play. Definitely would love to see Crunch. Agus coming in with another Crunch Bandicoot suggestion, and Pinstripe. Both good choices. Moving on. Princess Tiara says the Nitro Squad. Alright, so that's the second mention of the Nitro Squad since I've seen the first mention of it. And this is coming from Jamie. Pinstripe, the Komodo Brothers, Tiny Tiger, Ripperoo, and Koala Kong. Alright, so we got another for Pinstripe, the Komodo Brothers, Tiny Tiger, and then the first instances of Ripperoo and Koala Kong. Ripperoo, I definitely want to see get in. I think he has a chance of getting in just because of the pattern that people found on the website that has all the character patterns. There's like a specific pattern for each character, and the TNT crate did show up in that pattern. Who else would they tie the TNT crate other than my boy Ripperoo? So yeah, I'm very interested in seeing Ripperoo get in. I think it'd be fun, it'd be hilarious, and overall just a really wacky time playing as Ripperoo. And then Koala Kong, I didn't think he was that popular of a character, but I guess now that the remakes are out and people have had a chance to be reintroduced to the series, I guess a lot of people do want to see him come back. He's another top-heavy character, sort of like Tiny Tiger, Dingo Dial. It's ridiculously like massive. He's like buff, and he's a koala. So again, I think that'd be fun. Could have him like toss stuff around the arena, you know, be one of the characters that like goes around and like he can pick up rock formations, just chuck it at another character. That'd be funny. All right, moving on. I'm just gonna say Jetto, Nina, Crunch, Tiny Tiger, Pinstripe. All right, thank you for the suggestions. You know, we've already talked about them, so yeah, let's go on. My girlfriend Liz, another Nitro Squad member. And congratulations. Limit Break Ryan. All right, another instance of Koala Kong, Dr. Entropy, the original, not Femtropy, Entropy, Rillaroo, and Komodo Brothers. Now, I won't count Entropy because Entropy is technically already in. They're classifying Femtropy as Nefarious Tropy, and it is very likely that she will have a skin, the original universe Entropy. So I definitely do believe we're gonna get both Entropies in. So yeah, I have a firm belief that that's probably what's gonna happen. I think the reason they went with Femtropy to begin with was because Femtropy is an original TFB character, and they wanted to test the waters and see how reactions were. So far, I see that a lot of people are wanting original Entropy, which I mean, I myself would like to have original Entropy as well. But maybe they're like testing the waters to see how people would react to like brand new characters. So to add on to that, they added in their own version of Entropy Catbat. It looks like reception's being received well, so maybe we'll even be able to get more new characters in, which, as much as I would love to see a lot of classic characters return, I definitely want to see a lot of new characters as well. And then the first instance of Rillaroo, which is a character from Crash Bash. Definitely would be interested to see him here. I don't know how they'll fit him in, but again, it'd be cool to see him reintroduced in this modern like take of Crash. So yeah, I'm with you there. Thanks for the suggestions. All right, Benny Blue Fox says Tiny Tiger and Nina would be nice. I agree. For Lion says it's no contest. Crunch 100%. We shall see. All right, Braxton Richens says Nina and Crunch, who are my top 2 favorite Crash characters. Also with Nina in the 100% ending and a couple of Crunch references, it would make total sense why they will most likely show up. I mean, I couldn't agree more. In the concept art, and as well as the, well, not the concept art, but the art book itself, and in the ending of Crash Bandicoot 4, there is a scene where you can see Nina and Coco, or Kick-Ass Coco, I think that's what they called her gamer name or whatever. They're on stage battling in what's to assume to be Crash Team Rumble. So I think it makes perfect sense to have Nina come in at a later point in time. And again, as I was saying with Crunch, definitely would make sense to reintroduce him to the series first and then add him in. But it could go either way. We'll have to wait and see. Dick Treasureson says, I want to see Ripperoo, Tiny Tiger, and the Komodo Brothers too. All right, cool. Octo Jack says, why not Fake Crash? Why not Fake Crash? Tartar says, fake... We got 2 Fake Crashes back to back. Well, let me ask Mr. Fake Crash himself. Mr. Fake Crash, why aren't you in the game? People want you. Alright, moving on to Sparky the Dragon, Ripperoo. I want to see some explosions, or see more explosions. I don't know, I read more as some, but I agree. Explosions are fun. Tim says obscure characters like Ya Panda. As much as I would love to see Ya come back, or any other obscure character, I feel like their fate is met with Nitro Fuel. Now, reintroducing Ya as like her own character, they could possibly do sometime in the future, but I do feel like Nitro Fuel might be the last time we see her for quite some time until they decide to use her for something else. Love to see her, just because, again, her first debut was on Nitro Kart 2 for the mobile phones, and since then, she's been kind of in limbo. So her showing up in Nitro Fuel shows that they, you know, they can use her, but I don't know how likely it would be for her to come back. Frederick says, Crunch. I agree. Terminally Dyslexic says, to name just a few, all of these. And I went through this picture and I tallied up everybody, so don't worry, I got you there. Except for Spyro, because it's still not certain if Spyro's getting in. And I haven't seen anyone really say Spyro, so, and this is just focusing on Crash characters for right now. Warden says, Crunch and Nina for now, they're the main post-Naughty Dog characters. I mean, yeah. Yeah, those are the main two when it comes to mainline games. So yeah, I agree. Carlos says Tiny Tiger, Koala Kong, the Komodo Brothers, Ripperoo, Rillaroo, Pinstripe, Fake Crash, Nina Cortex, and Crunch. That's a very strong list, and I think a lot of people here would agree with. And then the last one here is Jamie saying Nina Cortex. All right, so thank you to everyone who replied to this post and gave their suggestions. Thanks to everybody that retweeted it and got suggestions. If you have any suggestions that you would like to leave in the comments down below, feel free to. But let's go ahead and do the tally. And it looks like so far these are the top 3 characters that people most likely want to see return to Crash Team Rumble. We got Nina, Tiny, and Crunch. So Nina, Cortex, Tiny Tiger, and Crunch Bandicoot are the top 3 based off of this poll alone. It could vary if I had a larger audience, obviously. But based off of all the replies and the multiple replies of people saying the same characters, this is what it tallied up to be. And obviously we have a full list of other characters that I'll be posting on the screen somewhere with all the other tallies that show where they are on the ranking as well. So yeah, this was fun. This was very intriguing and very awesome to do. Love to do more things like this. Maybe like level locations or just skins and all this other kind of stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, obviously, and be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to keep up with more Crash Team Rumble news, whatever else. And I'm excited for Crash Team Rumble. Bye.